Hi folks, Mr. Ackerman here. Thanks for watching. Topic of today's video is Adobe Bridge. Let me explain what Adobe Bridge is and why you want to start using it to view your files. If you launch Photoshop here and you go File, normally when you want to look at a photo you have to open it. So imagine if you just shot 100 files and you want to look at all of them. Do you really want to look at all of them in Photoshop? Do you want to open 100 images? It's going to crash the computer. It's too much information for it to handle. So this is not the best way. Now I know what most of you do. You usually go into, if you're on a Windows machine, you use My Computer and you search through there. I think it's called Windows File Viewer or whatever. And that's fine if you're looking at JPEGs or something, but it still only shows you one image at a time usually, and it doesn't give you much information about the images. And here's the problem. If it's a raw image, you can't see it because the computers at school don't know how to display raw images. So you need something better. What we're going to do here is go in Photoshop, we're going to go File, not Open, but Browse in Bridge. And when you click this, a new application is going to launch. Just give it a moment. It's called Adobe Bridge, and I want you to check it out. It's basically like Windows File Viewer. It's got all of the parts of your computer listed here. So for example, if you know where your files are, your photos, mine are in Documents, and then I scroll down a bit, Pics, and let's go to, I don't know, maybe right here was my friend's 85th birthday party. So I double click on this folder, and here are all the images, nicely displayed. Now Windows will display in a similar way if you set up your view options to display thumbnails. However, if you're dealing with raw files, see this is a raw file here out of a Canon camera, CR2, or if you're dealing with raw files out of a Nikon, it's going to say .nef. Windows will not display these, at least not in the school computers. Macintosh computers do display it, but still they're only going to show you one at a time, or maybe thumbnails that don't show much information. Watch what happens if I single click on one of these just to highlight it. Boom. I've got aperture, shutter speed, ISO, file size, the pixel dimensions, file size in bytes, and all sorts of other information under here, like what camera it was shot on, what time it was shot, what lens was being used, all sorts of stuff. If I hit the space bar, it enlarges and fills the screen immediately, and I get to see it nice and big without having to wait for it to open in Photoshop. And if I just click on any other one, same sort of thing, I get all the new information. If you right-click on one of these, it gives you some options. Where do you want to open this thing? Do you want to open it in Photoshop or in Camera Raw? If the image is already a raw file, which CR2s are, or .nefs are, then just double-clicking will open it in Adobe Camera Raw. So let's try that. Double-click and give this a moment to open up. There it goes. Here's Adobe Camera Raw, which you're all familiar with. So this is great. Let me just cancel that. You can do your editing from here. You know how to do that. Suppose you have a JPEG instead. So I'll go back to a shoot that I did a little while back. I was just outside the school, and on my phone I took some pictures of the school building. See these? They're all JPEGs. So if I double click these, they're going to open in Photoshop, which is not what I want. Remember, we now edit in Adobe Camera Raw. So let's get rid of that, and let's go back to Bridge, and let's right-click. Since it's a JPEG, we have to force this to be opened in Camera Raw. And if we do that, voila, there we are, back in Adobe Camera Raw, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to cancel that and go back to Bridge. Anyway, that's really all there is to it. Remember, why do you want to do this? It's because Windows or Finder on a Mac does not show you any of this great information here that you're going to need when you're shooting on an SLR. And also, if you're shooting raw images, like I was at my friend's 85th birthday party, CR2s or NEFs, they will not be viewed on school computers unless you're using Bridge, which lets you see them all at once, or unless you're in Photoshop, which is a bad idea because now you've got to open all of your images, which is going to crash the computer. Bridge can handle them all in a nice, neat way. So don't ever let me see you using Windows Photo Viewer or My Computer or any of that anymore. Just immediately launch Bridge. I know some of you are going to be resistant to this because you don't want to try new things, but you got to get over that. Your life is about to get way easier and your capabilities are going to go up. If you're stubborn and you want to stick with the old way because it's comfortable, what you're actually saying is, hey, make my life harder and make me less productive, which is never a great idea. So come over to the dark side, which is actually the bright side, start using Bridge, and I'll see you in class. Thanks for watching.